Hey everyone, it's Shannon here with the Venue Help Desk with our monthly Power Hour. So excited about today's topic. Reviews are near and dear to my heart. It's probably one of my favorite parts about when I used to be working one-on-one with couples was getting them and hearing the kind words they said after the fact. For those of you who don't know too much about my story, I started my career in offsite catering, went catering to venue. 10 years, 1,500 weddings later, and I just cracked. It was like, I need to do something different. But I really felt like reading the review from a client after the fact for me was part of, it like filled my heart for all the hard work, crazy questions, family drama, all the things. Absolutely love this topic. Shout it, say it, live it, publicize, and monetize your reviews. So, for those of you who we haven't met, I'm giving you a little bit of a warning. I tend to talk really fast. I love a well-placed GIF all through the presentation. I've been known to shock a little bit with some of the inappropriate things I say, and I will give you an opportunity to download the slides in the middle of this if you really want the slide deck, because there's lots of great info. If you're joining me here live, welcome. Take a minute. If you've come in, introduce yourself down in the chat. If you've just joined in, we've got some of our tried and true venue help desk students who've been through some of our classes, but we've got some new fresh faces in here as well. So let me know who you are, where you're from, and a little bit more about your venue. All right, are you ready? Let is go. Okay. When's the last time you made a purchase based upon a review? Think about it. Give yourself just that 1 minute, whether it's you read a review on Google or Amazon, if you were going on vacation where you're reading reviews on TripAdvisor, Airbnb or VRBO, or even Yelp for us oldies who are out there before Google was around. When's the last time you really actually made a purchase based on this? See, when I go do anything, I always hunt for social proof. So last November, we went to Wedding MBA in Las Vegas. And right before we went, I decided we were going to go see a show. So I started hunting and I found the show I wanted, but then I went to go buy the tickets. And I was like, how the heck do you decide where to buy the tickets from? So I started Googling and was like, well, this wasn't a traditional review. It didn't list anywhere on like Google or even Ticketmaster or any of that stuff. I found this blog post or this website that goes to all of the different theaters in Las Vegas, and they have these seating guides for the theater. And that to me was like a review. They went and stood in all the seats, took pictures, and said, I'm in this row at this seat. So you could see where and when you could see what the view would look like to be able to see the show. It was wild. And for me, while it might not be what's considered a traditional review, ultimately, this is what's called social proof. And everyone who's making purchases and investing money in today's world, if it's something that we're unsure about or we don't know a whole lot of information, we're always on the hunt for that social proof. So, what is social proof? It's when people look into the actions and opinions of others to guide their own decisions, relying on experiences of peers or strangers to determine what's trustworthy or desirable. And so the seats in a theater is a great example of this. It's the opinion of others to guide my decision. I was going to that show. I had watched videos, gotten excited about it, but I wanted the experience of someone else to tell me, so that I didn't pick the wrong seats, right? Because you're making an investment either way. But I want to know that someone else has experienced it and what did they think about it. So there's 6 different types of social proof that exist in the world: celebrity, expert, certifications, users, wisdom of the crowd, and wisdom of your friends. When we talk specifically about reviews themselves, we're talking about wisdom of your friends, users, and wisdom of the crowd. See, it's interesting on depending upon the platforms and the places and spaces you're reading reviews. Maybe I have been known to go on to my Facebook account and say, hey, I'm looking for someone who provides this service. And I'll get a bunch of comments of people, oh my God, I've worked with so and so and I love them and they were so great. And that's wisdom of my friends. It's my trusted circle. right? Actual users are usually people who are writing reviews, people who've experienced the product, versus wisdom of the crowd is a little bit more like big picture, right? It's the maybe that's somebody in the industry who has great things to say about your venue. They didn't get married there, but it doesn't mean that they still haven't experienced the level of service. So all of these things are like factors that come into play, but these are the three main areas that we'll kind of dig into. I love some data and stats. 90% of all engaged couples are looking at reviews to make vendor decisions. This is the statistical data from the recent Wedding Pro survey. 90%. They are looking. And when they say vendor decisions, that means vendor, venue, that's the whole world. It's the whole category of all of us in the industry, right? 90%. That number's wild. They're at least considering them. And another stat that was crazy was that reviews on both platforms and not in Wedding Wire, reviews are the most viewed section of the storefront. And the second thing that they look for on your storefront, pricing first. Now, whether or not you choose to invest your money in advertising these platforms, it doesn't make a difference to me. Ultimately, they've got the best data and statistical analysis of the behavior of couples because there's more engaged couples using their site than anywhere else in the country, right? So, but think about that. Reviews are the most viewed section, most viewed that people are spending the time. And it's the second thing they're looking for because they actually read them. They actually spend the time to go through them. Pricing first, but that's not what today's topic is about. We've got other power hours we've done about that. See, the thing about reviews is that like it gives you an opportunity to showcase what makes you different. What's your unique selling proposition? It's the thing that can really set you apart, right? From other people who and other venues that are in your local market or that you compete up against. So, what are couples looking for when they're spending all this time, according to this data? What are they actually looking for in your reviews? The very first is recency. See, Google's going to be a little touchy with this because in recent times, they haven't always sorted them by what's most recent. If you go on to look at your own reviews, it doesn't always show all of them, but other people can see reviews that aren't there. But it's important to people to see how recent is the review. If I go online and I go on and I'm like, oh God, their most recent review was 9 months ago. I mean, we all got a pass during the pandemic, but that pass is long gone. It's like, those old ass reviews, they don't even matter to me. It's all about what have you done for me lately. So, how recent are the reviews that I'm reading? They're also looking for consistency over time, meaning it doesn't look like you went in 1 month and had everybody write your review in that 1 month, and then you don't have any reviews the rest of the year, right? So it's like, is it consistent? Are you consistently getting new reviews come in? Are people consistently talking about your business and your brand? Third thing they're looking for is named employees, meaning who is the not just your venue as a whole, but the who. Who is the person that made me feel special and it was a personal experience? I'm going to use some examples from Ian and Paul, my partners who teach with me here at Venue Help Desk. I'm going to give you some examples, but they're looking for names specifically. If you guys have any questions, drop them down in the chat. They're looking for specific names because they want that opportunity. This says we were welcomed by Paul on our first trip. Kaylin was our wedding coordinator. And I know sometimes there's turnover. So maybe that's the question I'm about to see in the chat. Feel free to drop any questions. If you're here with me live, write down there and I'll answer them as I go. Or if I miss it and it's not on the topic, I'll circle around. I promise I'll answer all of them at the end. But they're looking for named individuals. They're looking for the who, not just the name of the building and the venue itself. They're looking for the people. See, people do business with people they like. And so I know this can be challenging if you have turnover. I worked at a family-owned resort. Our coordinators, we flipped them about every 18 months they left. They did a ton of weddings. They worked every weekend. It was a lot. So, So sometimes it would be like, oh, well, can I work with so and so? And they don't work here anymore, right? And so we just kind of internal, we did like talk tracks and scripts for everything that we could to say, oh my God, Katie was such a wonderful asset when she was here. She hasn't worked here in quite some time, but she left such a lasting impression that couples, still will write her a review. We've since then hired and well trained in this person into this role. And she's like our own little Katie. And I mean, it wasn't really fair. She was her own person. But if someone brought it up on reviews asking about a specific name, but I look forward to any questions you guys have about this topic specifically. The fourth thing they're looking for is detailed and honest feedback. They're looking for that review not to be like, oh my God, I loved it. I'm a Google super reviewer because as someone who owns a small business, it's important for me to want to, when I have exceptional service, tell other people about it, write about it, and put it in places and put it out there, right? So I make sure that I'm not like, oh, I love that restaurant. I go detailed and honest feedback and give them all the information. So they're looking for things that are super specific, right? So this is an example of it's detailed and honest feedback actually from a photographer about a venue. Wild, right? It's from a photographer. Wrote them a Google review. We worked with Alexa and the staff. They couldn't be more professional, enthusiastic about our couple's wedding. Not only was the venue gorgeous, but Alexa and her staff were attentive not only to the couple, but to the vendors as well. It was a warm day, and their team was constantly bringing water, making sure everyone was okay, right? All of that is detailed. Right, detailed, all the while coordinating a beautiful wedding with lots of moving parts. We've been to tons of venues, and this one definitely impresses. Highly recommend. Imagine you're a couple planning your wedding and you start reading the reviews and you're like, oh my God, this photographer was impressed by them. They see a ton of venues. Imagine that. So, how detailed and honest are the reviews themselves? Next up is the quantity of reviews. I know this is one of my inappropriate, but size actually does matter. If you're a new venue and you don't have a lot of reviews, I understand it's a little bit more difficult, but you got to work hard to fill those reviews up fast. See, when we talk about what's a unique selling proposition, when you look at somewhere like Madeira, and there may be direct local competitors, they are sitting on, and this screenshot is from last year, they were sitting on 322 Google reviews, massive amount. And their competitors, most of them had 80 or 90, which is still an impressive number, but more is always better. And so we've got some ideas today on how to increase that and teach you, but the number of reviews matters. And I always get pushback from the new venues and the new spaces, and they're like, well, how am I supposed to get people to review me? Bring in every single vendor that you could ever possibly work with or every planner and give them tours and ask them to write your review every single time. You start writing reviews for the vendors who work there at your venue, they'll start writing reviews back. So you got to get them full fast. Also, remember that reviews can come from anyone about your venue. It can be someone who just came for a tour. God willing, y'all have family and friends. Load them up on reviews about your spaces. The biggest hurdle to receiving reviews is actually taking the time to ask for them, right? It's not just hoping they come in. We've got to set systems and behaviors in place to put this on rinse, wash, and repeat. So I want you to stop and ask yourself a quick question. From the very initial contact that the lead walks in the door, that it comes into your inbox, they fill out your form on a national directory, from the initial contact to the signed contract. So we're talking about the sales process specifically. How many times are you mentioning reviews? Drop it down in the chat if you're here live with me. How many times? How many times in how many places are you talking about the importance of reviews? So that includes emails you're sending, email follow-ups. Are they featured in your follow-up sequence? How many times do you talk about them on the tour? Like, how many times are you actually mentioning reviews and the importance of reviews? Ooh, I got a none. Thank you for your being brave and saying none, right? This is such the easy fix. If you change this one thing just after the event, that's super common. Most people are doing it after the event. But like, you want to get more of them? Here's some of the secrets to my success. So perfect your ask. We're going to start during the sales process. So I want you to have an email follow-up template of, when you get leads and you send them the initial info and wherever you're, following up and following up and following up, because we know we should be doing that a million times. Have one of your templates be linking directly to your Google reviews or wherever you're collecting the most reviews, right? So have a template, one of your follow-up templates be something that's on the Venue Help Desk website over in the tools and resources. There's a 25 email follow-up templates that you could download, and one of them is specifically highlights the reviews. You can also do it during a sales call or doing like asking if you're doing phone calls with them at all. Have you had a chance to read our reviews? If you've got glowing ones and you've done all this work, ask the question if they've had a chance to read them, right? Like, have they had that opportunity? Next, and on the sales call, during the tour, all of those things. Then I want you to remind them before their wedding that you'll be asking, right? So most venues are doing some form of final wrap up meeting. You want to, in that final wrap up meeting, have a conversation. I finish every final wrap up meeting. Do you have any other questions? Do you have anything? No, we're good. Everybody's ready to go. We're so excited about your wedding. I have one more favor I need to ask you, right? Here's the favor. At the end of your wedding, when everything's been epic and you've had the best day ever, I'm going to follow up after the wedding and I would love for you to be willing to share your experience and write us a review on a few different platforms. It'll be a really simple email. I'll have direct links where you can just write it in there, copy paste it on into all the different places. Would you be willing to do that for us? There's a something about the psychology of sales, right? I know you're not selling them anything, but you're selling them on the idea that they're going to write you a review, that you want to get a yes. You want them to be like, oh my God, yes, of course, the process has been great, blah, 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 right? You want to get them to say yes. It's so important that they say yes to this. So you can do it at the final wrap up meeting. And so you're getting them to say yes. It's important in this process to tell them why it matters to you. You need to consistently, from the beginning, use the words that like it helps other couples with their journey to choose a venue. So by you leaving us a review, it helps others with their journey. And that, I mean, we're now all the way at the end of your wedding planning process. Think all the way back to when it was like you were just trying to find the space. Like your reviews actually help us that. If you are a small business, or even a medium-sized business or a local business, this doesn't work if you're like a Hilton or a Hyatt. So sorry for those people who are here. But talk about things like it supports our local small business. People get so excited and want to support small business. I do. I also love when it's a women-owned business. Sorry to the gentleman in the room, but I am here for a women-owned business. So I like always want that opportunity if I can to help support the small businesses. And when you remind me that the review does that, I'm more likely to actually fill it out. Next up, I want you to make the email request personal. So when you send an email request, this is after the event, I want you to not just copy and paste the same damn template over and over and over again. You've got to personalize it. Include a real moment from their wedding. You can attach a photo or a video that you took from behind the scenes. So you're going to start in the sales process. You're reminding them right before their wedding that you'll be asking. You explain to them why it's important. That why it's important can be a sentence in the before the wedding and in the email that you send after the fact. But include a real moment. Like it was amazing seeing you walk down the aisle with those luscious red roses. Like use something, personalize it a little bit. And I mean, we all have cameras in our pockets now. Snap any kind of photo, behind the scenes content. It's not about it being quality. It's not about it being on social media, but share something with them, that was a moment from that day that you loved. And so we're going to do that. And then I want you to be intentional with your wording. You got to be intentional, right? Like you have to think about the words you're using when you ask them. Things like we value your feedback. We want you to share your experience. Your opinion matters to us. You don't have to use all of these, but think about the words that you're using when you take the time to ask people that you're not just kind of sort like you're not just putting it out there, right? You're taking the time to be intentional with the ask and the request. Here's some things you need to remember when you're asking people. You're actually asking them for a favor. They have no need to do this for you, right? You want to tell them how long it's going to take. Like, let me make this easy for you. Here's the three links to the three different places where we collect reviews. If I should touch on this more, but Google should be your number one. But here's the few places. Here's the link. If you could just take a few minutes to be able to write us a quick review, tell them that you're so excited to read their review and hear their feedback, explains how much it means to you and their future clients. And you want to ask them when they are the happiest. So, when is that? It's about 2 weeks after their wedding is considered the gratitude period, right? It's like a professional thank you note. Now, we all know that there are those couples that, like, the day after the wedding, they send you some raving, amazing email, or 3 days later, and it's like, oh my God, it was so amazing to work with you. But sometimes there's some stuff at some venues, every venue is different. Sometimes you got to settle up a bill. Sometimes you might have, there were some challenges and stuff you've got to deal with, right? But that about 2 weeks after their wedding is that gratitude period. And if you tell them that you'll, kind of be reaching out in, a little bit over a week, some couples go on their honeymoon right away. You don't want to be asking them for a review while they're on their honeymoon. I know some of them will do it, but that's not like the best if you want to get the most of them. You can do it that way, but I don't always recommend, but you've got to know. So put the note in the file, leave yourself in your CRM a follow-up task. Susie and Mike are taking their honeymoon right after, follow up for the review at this point, all the way through, right? As to what to do. Now, I'm going to throw a little wrench in the plans of something that I did that was a little different, and it's not going to work for every venue. So, at the property that I worked at, we had one team that sold and one team that serviced. So what that means is I did all of the marketing, the sales, lead management, all the tours, contract signing. At the point at which the contract was signed, they got passed to a venue coordinator. That person took it from contract signing all the way through into event day, all the way through, right? So, but I worked at a hotel. It was a golf resort, beautiful property. But here's the problem I learned. See, as somebody who came from the world of catering, where I was hands on the whole day, start to finish, I could kind of control all the things. And if there was anything happening, I could control it to the best of my ability, but at least I could get in front of it. When people were getting married at my hotel property, sometimes there was a hiccup with something that had nothing to do with the wedding day itself, meaning they checked in at the front desk and there was a problem at the front desk check-in, or their room wasn't ready, or the bellmen weren't available to help them haul all their stuff, or whatever it was. So we learned at the hotel to add a one step in between just asking them for the review. So what we did was we pre-qualified the review. So the concept is about asking them for their feedback before you send them the links to write them a review. Because if they didn't have a good experience in any aspect of the planning process, I really wanted to hear about it and try to save it before we sent them the links for them to go write it on the internet. So we pre-qualified. Because what if something horrible happened that you don't know about? That little dumpster fire. Everything's fine. It's all fine. Or you haven't read the post-wedding report, or who knows? It could have been something that your team did. It could be something, it could have been weather related. You have no idea. So before you just whip them the link, you might want to kind of do that step in between where you ask them for feedback before you send them all of the links. And as soon as they wrote back and said, oh my God, everything was great. We loved it. Now, it wasn't the coordinator who sent that email. It was actually me from sales that I would send that first email saying, it's been such a pleasure working with you, your family, through the whole process, our whole team, blah, blah, blah. If you have any feedback, whatever, we always strive for 5-star service and a 5-star review. All of those things were in that email. And then they would reply back and be like, oh my God, it was so great. I loved it so much. Everything was amazing. Your staff was incredible. But then I would be like, amazing. Can you copy and paste that and just put it on these links? That would be awesome. But sometimes the dumpster fire burned. And I was like, ooh, thank God I didn't send them the link. And let me see if I can rectify that. That's a whole nother presentation about PR and preventing that disaster. So how do you get better reviews when you're asking for them? You want to use, it's all about the language in these guys. You want to ask for a 5-star review. We always strive for a 5-star review. If you feel like we didn't provide 5-star service, please hit reply and let us know. This is a way that if you want to bundle it all together and send it in one shot, you can use that verbiage inside of it. You can give them suggestions about what types of things to talk about. If you have specific things that you want your venue to be known for, you can kind of like plant seeds. Can you share your experience with the food, our coordination team, blah, 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 whatever. You can also reward people for their time. I'm a big bribe. I bribe all the people for all the things, guys. Rewards, rewards, rewards. So, can you think outside the box of some options of ways and things that you can reward them that doesn't cost you a whole lot of money, but it gives you, it gets you that in return. I was a hotel. We actually, all of our couples that would write us a review and put it on for all 4 links, we gave them a free one night stay to come back for their honeymoon. It was an easy peasy certificate. They had the whole month of their wedding to use it. They could come back, enjoy the resort, and come for a one night stay. I know that seems excessive, but guess what? The value for me, who was doing 150 weddings a year, like the value for me of a good review, it made it so easy to sell. So it was well worth the room. So, is there anything that you could do that you could provide to them that would reward them for taking their time to do it? If any of you are doing that now, drop it down in the chat. Are you rewarding people for reviews or are you just hoping and praying that they do it? 1 in 3, some data and stats, 1 in 3 clients will actually write a review if they're reminded at least once. 1 in 3. So about 30% will write it if you ask them once, but 2 in 3 will write if they're reminded twice or more. So you can't just set it and forget it. Send one request to write us a review and then be like, oh, nobody's reviewing me. You remember how long it took you to get them to come tour? They filled out the lead form, and then you sent an email, and then you sent information, and then you sent the pricing, and you sent your packages, and you followed up, and then they finally came out to tour. Well, people are just freaking busy, and writing you a review is not at the top of their priority list. Sorry, true story. So you've got to remind them. So you can write this a few different ways. We had kind of a series of emails that we followed up for reviews. Once I would get the pictures, I'd be like, oh my God, we saw the photos from your photographer if they still hadn't written me a review. And I'd say, oh my God, it was so stunning. It was so beautiful. I'd love for you to share your experience again and include some of the photos from the photographer in your review when you put it on Google and this and that. Like poke the bear a few times. So, one of the most common questions I get asked is where should I ask people to review me? So, this is in terms of the order of importance. The very first top of the list is Google. Google is your number one most important place for people to write you a review. Next up is anywhere you are investing in advertising. So things like Wedding Pro, Zola. If you are paying for listings on those platforms, you 100% should be driving them there. Now, the rules change, so this might not be forever information, but the Knot and Wedding Wire, some venues who maybe had a paid listing, switched it to a free listing, might still be able to capture reviews there. If you get a certain amount of reviews each year, you could still win best of weddings. So it might be worth, even if you have a free listing still on those platforms, to gather reviews there. And then below that, you will see Wedding Venue Map. That's my local little Orlando company. It's not national, but any local directories or anything local that you're investing advertising money in that collects reviews, send them there. And Facebook is okay, but not a high priority. So Google is your number one monster right now. Google, 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 Google. And then Wedding Pro and Zola. If you're spending money in these places, God willing, load up the reviews in those platforms. Okay, I know I promised you the slides from today. So if you would like the slides from today, here's a QR code. Grab your phone. If you're on your phone, don't worry about it. I can send out the link where you can download them later. But here is your shot to fill in your info and download the slides because I know I talk fast. So I'm definitely one of those speakers who spoils you and says, here's the slide deck because I know I talk too quick. And I'll take a 2-second breath. And if you have any questions, drop them down in the chat. Shiva, just put the question down in the chat. I'm not bringing anybody up live. So just type the question out and I'll make sure that I answer it. So just type it out down in that chat and I will answer your question. Perfect. Okay, you guys, good? Am I ready to go? Keep going. Did you download? Mm, 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 mm. Okay, I'm gonna keep moving. Okay, the other thing we get asked all the time is, oh, this is great, Shannon. You teach us all this stuff and all these things, and I don't have time to write any of these templates and do any of this for you. So, one of the things that we specialize in here at Venue Help Desk is creating done for you templates. So, if you head over after we finish this presentation to our the tools and templates page over on venuehelpdesk.com, there's two different tools there for you. One is the review tracking spreadsheet, which I'll talk about in a minute. And the other is all these review email templates. They all exist on there. And if you stay till the end, I will drop a 10% off coupon code for that's good till the end of the month where you can get buy anything you want in the shop. So it's good. It's for the whole shop, but we do have done for you templates, easy peasy. You can go in and be like, I want all these email templates Shannon's talking about. Great. They exist right in there for you to get it. And then the review tracking spreadsheet, and we've got them all bundled together. Okay. Moving on. I'll keep an eye on the chat if you guys have any questions. Review management. So here's the problem, right? Maybe you're doing a good job of collecting reviews and doing the ask, but you're not actually tracking this at all. So the reason I built that spreadsheet is because I always had a one spreadsheet of all the online links to my reviews in one spot. Because part of the process of gathering reviews is you really need to reply back to reviews, but it was like, how fast and furious can I go in and look at these? So I want one spreadsheet of all your online links. It's got all of your review links in it, so you can always grab them quickly. You don't have to go hunting for them. Obviously, you should have an email template for it, but if you're like, I need to go in and see, I haven't seen a review come in on that platform. Sometimes they're automated emails inside Break. So have one place where you can go and look at all of the things. 53% of all customers who've written a review expect a response from you in 7 days or less. So they take the time to write your review. They put that time aside. I mean, in the world of ChatGPT, ooh, she'd be so sexy. You can write reviews so freaking fast now for other people and other businesses. But the they took the time to do it. They expect to hear back from you that they've done it. Okay? And let me tell you, this is so impressive because as somebody who is a super reviewer on Google, when I go to a restaurant and I'm like, damn, that was so good, and I write them a review and then I get a response, like a fast response, I'm like, oh my God, they actually read them. They actually care that I took the time to do that. Freaking wild. So good. So, why should you respond? It shows that you're attentive and that you care about your customers and that each and every customer is important. Everybody who's stepped foot on your venue matters, that you address any problems head on. Sometimes in a review, people might write about a hiccup or a story. It shows that you're polished and professional, that you're paying attention to the public relations conversations that are happening about your brand. It also increases the lifetime value of a customer. When you respond back and you tell them you appreciate it, they're like, they feel loved and cared for even well past their event. So that's important. It's a chance to salvage any relationships. We have a whole nother presentation on that at some point where maybe you've blown it and they've written you a raging terrible review. We've all gotten them. Don't freak out. I'll tell you about my favorite one in a bit. It attracts new customers who appreciate the reviews. See, when new customers then find them and see that you're responding back, it shows that you're freaking paying attention, right? It shows that your brand cares. That makes me want to reach out to the venue to book a tour. I'm like, oh my God, they're listening. But one of the top little secrets about reviews, especially on Google, is that it can help boost your SEO. SEO is search engine optimization. For those of you who don't know a ton about it, it's about where you rank inside of Google. When someone Googles your name or Googles your keywords in your category, they're searching for, Houston, Texas wedding venue or, Dallas, Texas wedding barn or whatever city and state you're from, right? They'll go in and it is wild sometimes the things that they'll write and the things that they'll see. And so you want to be able to reply back. So Google says it's super important. So let's talk about why it matters. It's most important for Google reviews specifically because Google actually reads those reviews and is looking for those keywords. You want to make sure that the review includes the type of services. Now, you can't always guarantee what Mike and Susie, the couple, are going to write about your venue, right? You can't always guarantee that they're going to say, I know we've got Alicia here from Venue 1902. That historic Venue 1902 provides rentals for the couples. They provide coordinating services for the couples. So you can't always guarantee that the couples aren't going to be like, I loved working with their team. It was such a great experience, but they maybe didn't talk about the rentals specifically. But you want to make sure that that's one of your differentiators. You get to highlight it. So you can include in your response back the types of services that you guys provided, right? What did you provide for the wedding? We enjoyed providing the catering and bar services as all of your, rental seating areas or whatever. You can get those keywords in there. You want to try to work the word best. So like if you so let me give an example. Mike and Susie are like, oh my God, we loved working with the team at this venue. And it was so great. Sorry, that's how couples sound in my head. It was so great to work with them and whatever. And you can say things like, working with your team at our wedding venue was the best. The word best, if you can get it in as the keyword phrase, like best wedding venue in Orlando, thank you so much for talking about us. Like we're the best wedding venue in Orlando. Ooh, you just put in a sexy key phrase that people search for all the time. You want to make sure to use your location keywords in your response. Of course, it'd be amazing if the couple said Orlando, Central Florida, Florida, whatever, the things I want to rank for, but they're not always going to do it. So we decided to make sure that we put all those things in the reply. Did you guys know anything about that? Have you ever heard of that? Wild? Are any of you doing this? Are you SEOing your responses? Are you even freaking responding? Are the people who are here with me live? Are you alive right now? I saw your question in there, Shiva. I'll make sure I get to it at the end. Okay, so we've got to respond to positive reviews. We've got to respond. So I'm just going to give you the formula, and this is why you need the slide deck because I'm going to go fast through all this, and there's a lot of text in it. So when you respond to positive reviews, best practices, write your response sooner than later. I try to respond in 24 hours. Like when that review hits your inbox and Google's like, you got a new review. Like, just try to get it off your plate. Respond fast and be done. Address the reviewers by name, hi name, whatever their name is. Start it with the name. Continue with gratitude. Thanks so much for your enthusiastic review, thoughtful review, detailed review, blah, blah, blah. Address their key points in one sentence of the things they say. You want to repeat it back. Try and shove your keywords in where you can. Keep it short and genuine. End with gratitude and actually sign your name at the bottom. Who's the person looking at it? Is it Amelia? Is it Melody? Is it Josie? Like, who here is actually responding back to the review? So it shows that it's a person, not just the building, right? So, like, I know that Amelia owns her venue. She's a venue help desk student. I know she owns her venue. It looks so sexy to a new couple coming in that the owner takes the time to respond back. Even if someone on your team's doing it, can you just have them sign the owner's name if it's privately owned? No, it never looks too bad to respond now. Good question, Melody. You can go back and reply to them all, but I'm going to teach you a cheat. So don't start doing it while I'm teaching. Okay. Let's talk about negative reviews for a second, because I think it's really important. You can't talk about this topic and we cannot not discuss this. Now, negative reviews can be both legitimate and unreasonable. Here's what happens. So a negative review comes in and it's like, oh no, we got a bad review. When that happens, it gets handled a few different ways. The first is so many people just do this. They like to pretend it didn't happen. They like to go to Facebook and bitch about it all over the internet. Oh my God, we got this bad review. She's the worst. Blah, blah, blah. They like to call all the other vendors on the wedding and we got this bad review. Isn't she ridiculous? Whatever. Or they just pretend like it didn't happen at all. Not me. You can be more like me when you get a bad review. I'm furious when I get a bad review. Because whether it's reasonable and legitimate or unreasonable, I work so hard to make things so good for couples. And then they saw the one mistake we made, and no matter how good I was for 18 months working with them and how great the 12-hour day was, they hit it on the internet. Or it's totally unreasonable and they talk about crazy stuff. And then I just want to break shit. And so this is what happens to me when I get a bad review. Now, I don't respond back in this moment while I'm flipping over tables. This is not when I do the thing. So let me share you my most insane. I love a good behind the scenes drama story. So I already warned you guys, I started my career in catering and offsite catering, meaning we went on site to the venue. I'm sure some of you allow offsite catering. So the couples, pick the venue, choose us as the caterer, we come in. So, I'm a systems machine, guys. We systemize everything we do. So she orders this big, beautiful, humongous, gorgeous cake. This cake, you can't even see the cake top because it's so covered with flowers. This cake feeds about 130 people. She had 60 guests. But a big, beautiful, stunning cake was important to her. Fine, whatever, right? So we did what we always do at every wedding. Maybe not anymore, but this was a little while ago. We took the top tier off. We cut top down. We only got to this like tier right here. That's as far down as we need to cut. So we never cut the bottom two tiers. We saved the top tier, we cut the top two. Everybody had cake. And then we saved the leftovers and we're like, here you go. Here's the leftover cake. Fast forward to when she writes her review. Everything about the day was fabulous. The food was delicious. Working with Shannon was incredible. But, dot, dot, dot. A warning for other couples when it comes to their cake. We chose unique and different and creative cake flavors for our top two tiers, well, our top tiers, thinking that like most people probably wouldn't eat them and all the normal people flavors were down at the bottom, and the caterer never cut the cake. Whoa, lady. We cut the cake. We just, I don't actually care what flavor your cake is. I just cut and serve it. I mean, I know it in case there's an allergy, but like, I'm not the cake baker. I didn't really care at the time. So I did exactly what I showed you. I flipped the tables. I flipped out. I took a breath. I walked away. Don't respond to those immediately. I took a breath and I actually picked up the phone and called her. And I said, you know what? I really appreciate your feedback because I'm going to change the system in the future. In the past, we've always saved the leftover cake and the extra cake as the cake was definitely more than you needed for your guests, but we're going to change our system in the future. I'm going to now make sure I know, do they want us to cut and serve the whole cake or only cut and serve as much as they need? I will make sure that we know, especially when there's unique flavors like that, how important that is. And I will ask that question in our final details meeting so that in the future, no, I hope you guys got to enjoy the extra cake that went home with you, but in the future, we'll make sure that we never let another bride down, another couple down. She was so thankful and grateful. I picked up the phone. Did you hear me? I picked up the phone to talk to her. She was so thankful and grateful. She actually went back on the internet and removed the butt part. I did actually reply to her online though and say that, like, feedback is always a gift. And thank you so much for sharing your experience with our company. Every time we get feedback, like what you shared with us, it gives us an opportunity to be able to modify and change. There's one little thing that I left out about this wedding. Are you ready? This chick showed up on event day, unbeknownst to the venue, us, the caterer. She didn't have a planner. Back then, nobody really did. She brought a live tiger to the wedding. See, she worked at the tiger rescue. And so she thought it'd be really fun at cocktail hour for her guests to be able to pet a tiger. So the tiger rescue shows up with a live animal, not a cub, a tiger, shows up with a tiger on her wedding day. And this is an actual old school video from my old phone of her sitting there. That tiger has like a dog collar on. Do you know three of my servers went home and refused to work? Because they were like, I am not going to be on When Animals Gone Wild. Guys, a freaking tiger. Oh, but we're so worried about how I cut the cake. I didn't write in my review that bitch showed up with a tiger. I wanted to, but I didn't. But this is legit. When I tell you when I was writing this presentation, I had to go hunt for this video. This was so long ago. But that tiger is literally on like a dog collar. There's nothing, if one good pull and he's there. But anyways, I cut the cake wrong. Look, that was frustrating because it was fair. That was her experience. But like, really? So sometimes when you get a review like that, you've got to stop, look internal. Can we change up the system so that we don't hear this again? Take the feedback with a grain of salt, flip the table over first, take a breath, and walk away. See, 40% of individuals, they just want a truthful apology, nothing else. They just want to know that you've learned from it. They want to know that you're sorry. And then it like diffuses the whole situation. So, really simple apologies. We're sorry to hear that your experience didn't match your overall expectations. We truthfully apologize for our mistake. Let's make this right. I mean, you can put things in an email, or I'd like to pick up the phone and call them before I respond back on the internet. But you want to handle this quick. You don't want it sitting there, right? You don't want your future leads to be able to see these reviews, but you need to reply professionally, politely, and thoughtfully. Guess who's not that girl when she's flipping over tables? Hi, I'm Shannon. I'm the problem, and it's me. It's awful. So, but I'm going to teach you how I cheat because in today's world, AI is our new best friend because she is not emotional. She is not emotional. So, let me give you a great example on how we're going to use ChatGPT to cheat for this. So, great example. This was a review from a venue in my market. It's a glass barn. The glass barn was a disappointing choice, lacking essential amenities like air conditioning. The stifling heat made the experience uncomfortable. The absence of proper climate controlled detracted significantly from any enjoyment. Events held here during warmer months are likely to be sweaty and unpleasant. Consider alternatives that prioritize guest comfort and well-being, as this glass barn falls short in providing a satisfactory environment. So this was clearly a guest at the wedding. They have the right to share their experience. But guess what happens? You can't write on there, I'm sorry your stupid ass family or friends chose a glass house during the summer in Florida, which is like a greenhouse and it's hot and it's humid and it just bakes it in. I'm sorry your people picked a stupid venue, our beautiful venue that's not ideal for summer weddings. Sorry. Can't write that. But what you can do is you can copy and paste it into ChatGPT. You can say things like, write a professional, positive response to this review. Professional and positive. I don't want to get defensive. I want to be professional and positive. Look at what my little girlfriend Chatty wrote. Thank you for taking the time to share your feedback about your experience at the Glass Barn. We sincerely apologize that your visit didn't meet your expectations, and we appreciate your candid comments. Candid. Candid. Your concerns regarding the lack of air conditioning and resulting discomfort are genuinely important to us. We understand the impact that such concerns can have on the overall enjoyment of the event. Oh, she's so good. What a good customer service rep, especially during warmer months. Please rest assured we take your feedback seriously and will assess opportunities to enhance the climate controlled measures within the glass barn. No, they haven't. It's still not air conditioned. No one cares. We're committed to providing a positive and comfortable experience for all our guests, and your insights are invaluable to us achieving that goal. So freaking sexy. Now, the only thing I would change now that I've done a lot more educational research about ChatGPT is I would have started this by saying you're a customer service representative in charge of managing angry customer reviews. Give her a like, Chatty's a girl in my office. So give Chatty what role you want her to play when she's helping you. AI and ChatGPT for the win. It saves a ton of time. It gives you inspiration. It also keeps things objective, removes the emotion. But you can also use this for positive reviews. So, meaning you could go into ChatGPT and you can say, couple write you a positive review. This is why I say 24 hours. We can work faster now with these tools, guys. So, when the couple writes the review, you can grab the information and you can say to ChatGPT, hey, I'd like to write a positive review, reply to the person's name is this. I'd like it to be written and signed by this person. Here's our most popular 10 keywords. If you can work a few of these keyword phrases into my response and make sure you respond back to something that they said specifically in the review and highlight that. Copy paste in their review, hit enter, done, read it, sounds good, copy paste, post. That's all they want to see. They don't care. I mean, personalize it. You can say, add in a personal note of how beautiful it was that she didn't wear a white dress, whatever. Cheat, 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 cheat. Does that make sense? Are you getting me? Are you guys using ChatGPT for this stuff? If you're not, holy Lord, you should be. So sexy. So sexy. So, like, What are we supposed to do now that we got the reviews? The world needs to know about them, right? You're getting these reviews, so here's how you can use them. I'm going to fast and furious wrap this guy up. So we're done in the hour. You can use the reviews to attract quality customers. So you can post them on your social media. Some examples, a lot of this is from Madeira or other sites I've seen, other vendors I've seen. You can use them in your Instagram stories. Then you can save all those into a highlight. This one's called Client Love. You could save it into one called Reviews so that when people find your Instagram, they can click quick through some of your curated reviews. You can use the entire review. An important thing on this is make sure you just don't use too many words here because it's you only get so much time to read a story. So, but you can put the whole thing over in the caption. So when you post pictures from your real wedding, you can use the review in the caption. If you're not sure what to write about, hopefully they use some of your keywords and you can say this was their experience. If you can get a video review, this is the holy grail. This is a couple who actually on their wedding day dress had such a great experience at Madeira that they wanted to share about it. So video reviews, super sexy. Next up is you can use reviews in your marketing material, things like your pricing guide, on your website, things like that. You should spread them all over the place. Next up is in your email marketing. You can add a review block directly into your email marketing. All of these things are ways to use those reviews that you've taken the time to get and repurpose them into actual content you can use in the future. Okay, how do you use these with some hot leads? You've got leads, you want to convert them to bookings. So you can sprinkle them. The leads have come in, they found your site. You can sprinkle them all throughout your website so that it drives people to want to take the next step, right? It's their experience specifically. We already talked about this. You can use them in your follow-up email templates. This is one of the templates in the system. In the 25 email templates, hi, first name, we could say we're pretty fantastic, but you don't have to take our word for it. Listen to these voices from the past. Or if you want to dig deeper, check out our 385 reviews from our past, you know, Madeira Estates clients and put the link in where they can go read your reviews. I don't always suggest driving people back to the Knot and Wedding Wire because on those profiles, they can see other venues potentially. So I would only drive them to Google because that's where your reviews live and only yours. And last up is in your email signature. This is such a dirty little easy thing that you can add that says read our latest reviews here. So as you're emailing leads, it's just that constant reminder of how important reviews are for us all the way through. You got to spread the news. You got the review, put it out there. All right, wrapping it up. Reviews are about giving your reputation a boost. Things to do. Do consistently ask for reviews. Ask your vendor partners and employees to review you. Also, if you're trying to grow your reviews, just remember like any vendors that you have out there, maybe you can sit down, spend an hour, chat GPT, you write a review for every single vendor on your list. And then in the hopes that they write a review back for your business and reward employees for reviews that name them. I love doing this. When we get a review, when I worked at the venue and it named any of my employees, I made a bank for them, and every review that named them, $5 went into the bank, and they could either use that for a hotel stay at the resort, they could use it for bringing lunch in. I would order them lunch, but it was $5 went into the bank. I didn't pay them cash. I didn't give them gift cards. They had like a running bank, so they could order dinner. They could order lunch any day, and I would order it in, and then it became a business expense for me instead of just paying it out as commission or cash or bonuses. You shouldn't ever pay cash for reviews. Don't forget to say thank you more often when you get reviews. Go above and beyond to tell people how much you appreciate it. And don't hesitate to surprise and delight and reward customers when they give you positive interactions. Like people who say great things or write you raving reviews and refer you business all the time, like surprise them. They love it. Write them a handwritten card, things like that. Reviews drive customers and build trust and increase sales. That's the whole point in this, right? It's not just about you have to get reviews. Ultimately, all of us are looking for how do we differentiate ourselves? How do we set ourselves apart? What can we be doing differently? And like maybe you're doing a lot of this. And if you are, I mean, I like commend you for starting to put those systems in place. But if you're not, that's okay too. You can add this into your processes, whether your slow season's coming, whether you're deep in the hole. I don't know about you, but I feel like everywhere in the country is busy with weddings right now. So I appreciate you taking your time to be here and join with me today. But we're about making more money. I'm going to flip through some stuff. I am going to be lovey, but I'm going to ask you to write me a review. I have a favor for you. This goes directly to our venue help desk reviews. We will include it in some email follow-ups and reminders, but like go write us a review if you've ever learned anything from venue help desk. If you loved this power hour and you attended, go tell us about it. Tell us what you get out of it. What are you going to take action on? What do you love learning from us? Okay, last piece and part is the done for you templates. If you use the code I do for the reviews, you'll save 10% on any order on our website on the templates and tools through the end of April. I do for the reviews. So if you want to get the review request email templates, the tracking sheet, the bundle, all of those pieces and parts, anything on the shop, the follow-up email templates, any of it, if you use that code, it's 10% off any order through the end of the month. So we would love to have you. Um, if you are like, I don't want to deal with any of this, thanks, Shannon, just give me the damn system already. I am here for it. I'm going to go back up and answer Shiva's question. If anyone has any other questions, I'm going to answer hers. But thank you so much for joining us live. All of these recordings for all of our power hours and our previous power hours live over in our Facebook group. And that will go out in the link for all of this so that you have it. So let me know if you have any other questions or anything, and I am going to go through and read. Okay, so let me read what Shiva shared. Just to give a little context, our original company, Dream Photo and Video, has built up a lot of reviews on Google over the years, but because we no longer operate out of the office we had listed, a local photographer reported us, and Google ended up removing our business listing from Maps. So we lost all the reviews, even though we still have 205 reviews on wedding wear and then not. Okay, sounds like you're a photographer, which is fine. Since we were already in the process of rebranding, we decided to wait till after the rebrand to start collecting new reviews. Our new Google profile is pretty fresh. So this week was when I had planned to begin reaching out to past clients to leave us a review. It would look bad or rate any red flags to suddenly have a wave of reviews coming in, even if they're all genuine. I would be careful with that. See, Google has all these like, not so much like specific rules, but they've got, oh, here's this. I'll leave this up in case you want to write me a review. Google has a lot of things that like kind of like Instagram, you get shadow banned and all of that stuff. So I would just spread it out. Maybe, each week you reach out to your top 10 like super clients. Maybe you could even give them in the email that you reach out to them. If they had written you one on the other site and you have access to it, you could just copy and paste and put it in there and ask them if they're willing to put it over on your new page. But I would spread it out over like a 2-month window. If you just go in and are like 200 people, go write us a review, it can look a little sketchy. So I'm not sure that that would be the best thing that I would do all the way through. So, yeah, that was a really good question. So I think that that's why consistency was an important one, right? Like consistency was important and important and important. Oh my God, look at that. Cindy, newbie here, just posted on Insta to share some love, and within 5 minutes, we got a review. I am screenshotting that. Just ask. One of Madeira's secret to their success a lot of times is that they will do they'll do a right before the Thanksgiving. Oh, we're so thankful for you. We'd be so thankful if you can write us a review, and a link to their reviews in their Instagram stories. And they kind of post about it all weekend. And all these couples, they go in and they're like, oh my God, because what are people doing on Thanksgiving weekend? Nothing but scrolling social media, right? And shopping. So they'll go in and write them a review, all these people who should have written them a review and hadn't. So I hope you guys got some, oh, look at that. It works. It works. I hope you guys got some great ideas out of this and you write us some awesome reviews. If there's anything that you need or that we can help you with, I'm more than happy to help at any stage of the way. I don't see any other questions down in the chat. So I hope you take action on this and grab some of those tools that are easy peasy for you to just implement immediately. We will see you next month. Talk to you soon. Have a great day.